More fighting in northeast Syria between Kurds and Turkish-backed Syrian rebels. In videos uploaded by Kurdish fighters, they say they're defending their positions outside the so-called safe zone south of the towns of Tal Abyad and Ras Al Ain. Fighters who formed a coalition called the Syrian National Army, or SNA, deny they're making any territorial gains. Turkey says 5 soldiers were wounded in attacks by Kurdish fighters who are reportedly being backed by Syrian government forces. Although no one has claimed responsibility, Turkish military sources accuse the Kurds of carrying out 4 bombings in the last 4 days within the safe zone. The fighting is happening despite an agreement for a 6-day pause. Forces loyal to Syria's President Bashar al-Assad have moved into towns and villages outside of the 30-kilometer boundary agreed by Russia and Turkey. And Russian military police as well as soldiers from Chechnya are patrolling areas under Kurdish control. They're implementing the withdrawal agreement under which the Kurds will leave their positions inside the safe zone. Turkey is a NATO member, and its dealings with Russia in Syria have not been welcomed by many of its Western allies. Before arriving in Ankara, Germany's foreign minister called Turkey's offensive against the Kurds an invasion.
We were told the proposal on creating an international safe zone is not a realistic suggestion. That's why we use the time to deal with those issues which are important for the people in Syria right now. The issue of what happens with the ceasefire after 150 hours, and the issue of how humanitarian aid continues with those who are fleeing in Syria.
The invasion comment outraged Turkey's leaders. They say European allies don't share the burden of refugees and refuse to support Turkey's operation against PKK fighters who are designated a terrorist group by the European Union.
Apart from bilateral issues, we found this a good opportunity to talk about the Syrian issue as a whole. I also focused on the fact that the US and Russia have recognized the developments in the field with our Peace Spring operation. There are so many aims of that operation. One of them is to return the Syrian refugees. We need to clean this area from the terrorist organizations.
Turkey says its safe zone is meant to create a space for refugees to return. But more people have been displaced since Turkey began its military operation in northern Syria almost 3 weeks ago. The World Food Programme says 176,000 people have so far fled the fighting.
We left with nothing. A plane was bombing and we barely managed to escape to save ourselves and our children. They provided some mattresses, blankets and food, but we have no doors, no windows. This is how we are living.
The 150-hour agreement between Turkey and Russia expires on Tuesday. The US president says he expects a permanent ceasefire and has warned of reimposing economic sanctions on Turkey if ceasefire violations take place. But Turkish president is adamant that he wants to establish the 30-kilometer deep zone inside Syria to repatriate more than 3 million Syrian refugees with or without the support of his allies. Osama bin Javaid, Al Jazeera, Akcakale on the Turkey-Syria border.